This is the unboxing video for Seton's 8th grade curriculum this year. I have my packing slip. I'm going to go through and show you different things that we got this year. I did have some things already from either buying used or given from a friend that I was able to reuse. So if you enroll with Seton, you put a little check that I already have this book and they give you a credit. So save a little bit of money that way. We do fully enroll, so I will have all the lesson plans and the tests and the help from Seton that I need, which I love. I feel like it's totally worth it because there's so much extra in the lesson plans that you get besides just what's in the book. All right, so the first thing we have on the packing slip is Art 8, and that is a new book for us. I like that they put the number on the edges, so when I start having all these books in my cabinet that I'm able to reuse when my next kid gets the 8th grade, I can just pull all the ones that have 8 and say, okay, I already have these. I don't need these. Check those off. Very nice for my organized self. So this is Art Through Faith. It looks like, unlike the elementary years, we were not flipping back and forth between projects and what I call art appreciation. This looks like art appreciation again this year, which he also had last year with 7th grade. He was not too thrilled about that. So he will still be doing this, obviously, but I think I'm going to look up like a little drawing class or something for him to supplement this with some drawing, painting, some more hands-on art, because that's the part that he likes. All right, for English, we have an English 8 book and a composition for young Catholics. Okay, 2 books for English this year. All right, here's our English 8. I'm guessing this is going to be more of our grammar, parts of speech, diagramming. And then here's composition. So I guess whereas we used to have like the paragraph writing handbook in the lesson plans or the composition handbook in the lesson plans, now we have a full workbook to help us work on our writing skills. And it looks like we have quite a few assignments in here. This is going to be really good. So that's English. History is History of the United States. I like that we're going into full textbooks now so that I know I'm going to be able to use this again for my other 2 kids without having to buy a new book. I'm not going to let him write in it, of course, so we're going to have to be moving to notebooks to write our answers instead of writing them in the workbook. I think I saw a time. Yeah, I think I'm seeing timelines, maps, lots of great pictures. And I like that Seton's books are up to date. Okay, so that's it for history. Music, we sing of our world. I actually do have the book because this is one that we don't have, unlike my other 2 videos this year. If you do not know how to read music, to be able to play this on a piano or sing it or whatnot, just search them on YouTube. A lot of them are there. Sometimes Seton has them on their website when you log into my Seton. I'm just practicing those. Let's see. PE doesn't have a text, but it has information in the lesson plan. So we'll get to that at the end. Okay, reading 8. I had quite a few of these. So these are our horizons and a book of friendliness. So again, like I said, here's our 8th grade. We got these passed down to us from a friend. So I got some work. I already have these, and I got a credit towards my total. Usually the way this works is there's reading passages, and then in your lesson plans you have the comprehension questions and answers to go over each passage. And then your child usually, I haven't taught 8th grade with Seton yet, so we'll see, but usually they have a comprehension test in reading. And then just like some of the other grades, they get to pick 2 novels for their first 2 quarter book reports, and then 2 sync books for their last 2 quarter book reports. And I always let my kids pick. He did pick, however, 2 books that, or 1 book that I already had, again from a friend. So The Yearling, so he'll have that one. He also picked 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And then for his saints, he picked St. Thomas Aquinas and Paul the Apostle. So those should be really good. Reading 8 for young Catholics. So reading usually has a comprehension book and a thinking skills book. In the lower grades, the thinking skills books are things like logic puzzles, analogies, things like that. Venn diagrams. I find in the upper grades, I guess since I'm talking about it, we'll do this one. It's more like theme, plot, and analyzing the story and meanings, which are really important as you get in, closer to high school, right? Because then you're going to have to start analyzing various works of literature. And then we have our comprehension book. It's usually a story or a passage, and then comprehension questions. I love the pictures that go with the stories. All right, for religion, we have Witness to the Faith. Yay, another hardcover book. I know those are just going to last so much better. They're a little bit hard to flip through, though, on video. Okay. So it looks like we have, okay, here's the beginning of a chapter. We have a timeline. Reading, pictures. And then we have oral exercises at the end. My son's going to like that we can just call out the answers to the questions. He does not prefer to write them, even though sometimes he has to. Sometimes we've allowed typing instead. Also for religion, we have Baltimore Catechism number 2. I think this is the 3rd year he's going through this one. So he should be quite familiar with it. Science. This year is life science in 8th grade. I see some chapter reviews. Words to remember. I also see a section review with some questions for each section. And then I'm looking for the end of the chapter. Chapter review and a crossword puzzle. Yeah, and then the next chapter. Scene usually has does a really good job of having an outline of what's in each chapter, what is covered in each chapter at the beginning of the chapters. Spelling. And I think I talk on this in every video I have with unboxing, but my kids are pretty good spellers, so I'm not concerned about the spelling, but I keep getting the spelling. 1, it's part of the enrollment, but 2, because their definition and fill in the blank pages really make the student understand the difference between the meanings of the words, and I feel like they just understand the words much better. Here's your first day. So spelling's pretty straightforward. You have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then a spelling test on Friday, and then you start again. And then they have quarter tests. Seton sends you the words to call out for the quarter test, and then they grade the quarter test. vocabulary. Oh, answer key. So for vocabulary, they start by defining the words. Then they have multiple choice. Choose which two words are either similar or opposite. Fill in the blank. And then a crossword puzzle. And then on Friday, there's a quiz. And the quiz usually is like define half of the words and then fill in the blank with the other half with the word bank. All right, Algebra 1. So he is in 8th grade, but he's a year ahead on math, so he's doing Algebra 1 this year. We use Saxon. I think you can get these from Seton. I'm worked that I already had one. So it looks like you could have gotten one if you needed one. Again, check thrift books, eBay, Homeschool, book sales. Saxon's pretty popular across multiple curriculums, so it's usually not too hard to find a book. We're using the 3rd edition for this one. And then I did order from Seton the answer key. I'm a former high school math teacher, so I could figure out all the answers to this, but this is just so much more convenient when I check his work at the end of the day to see how he's doing. And then I'll be able to use that again with the other kids. Okay, so that's it for the textbooks. So let's see what else we get with our enrollment. You will get a lesson plan book. This is meant for the teacher, but I like to use my Happy Planner teacher for my lesson planning. So I usually use this for my children. So like this will be for my 8th grader. I will write his assignments in here. He gets to check them off as he goes. And then I come through and I check with my lesson planner that he completed them. And then if I need to go over something with him, I can call him over and we work on it together to make sure he's understanding what he's learning. Okay. Then because we are enrolled, we get our lesson plans. Oh, also Rosary book. I think we've gotten this almost every year. I think one year they didn't have it, but most years we've gotten it, which I think is really cool. Okay, so because we are enrolled, we get the lesson plans. So this one, Introduction or Getting Started 8th grade, tells you how it works, what your grading scale is, how do you turn in grades. It also has your attendance, record keeping, quarterly checklist for grades. We just upload all of our grades into the My Seton page, but you can also take some tests online, or you can do everything on paper and mail it in if you prefer. We're kind of in the middle. I think I might get him to start taking a couple of the tests online. Maybe this year, definitely next year in high school, just to get used to it. All right, here's our Algebra 1 lesson plans. So it gives you like test 1 covers these lessons and you give it after this lesson. And then the rest is going to be the tests. And some of the tests are parent graded. And if it's parent graded, they give you the answer key. And some of them you send off to Seton and they grade it. Okay, so this is English 8. Seton changed, I think a few years back, to color lesson plans. They're beautiful. And this shows you which 2 books you should have for English 8. And then it has lesson plans. Also on this side of the lesson plans, it shows you which book the assignment is coming from. Okay. And then you can, on this side, you can check that it's done once you're finished it. I find the lesson plans are worth it because you get extra information on writing assignments, writing paragraphs. Here's our answer key. And then we have our tests on the back. Okay, art. It's going to tell you what to read when. It's usually weekly, I think, for art. Music. Oh, this is 2. Okay. Music. Tells you which ones to go over, which songs to sing or listen to from the book. Here's PE. This gives you different activities, exercises for strength and coordination, baseball target drill, wall handstand, exercises with music, football target drill, climbing rope, soccer skills, baseball skills, table tennis, volleyball. This is just in case you have no idea what to do for PE. We participate in other things outside of school, like archery, dancing, gymnastics, so we count that for our PE. But this is also good for the days when you don't have those things. All right, here's our reading. So these are the books you would use. Here's our lesson plans. Answer key test. I almost forgot, for reading, because you're doing the book reports, they give you the book report handbook, and it literally takes you step by step. What are your topics? What is your thesis statement? What are your examples for topic 1, topic 2, topic 3? Write an outline, write the paragraph. So for all 4 quarter book reports. So I really like that handbook, and I find it super helpful. Okay, religion 8. And that would be your answer key. And then your tests are in the back. They do give a little bit of optional assignments and supplemental things. Like right here, it says Baltimore Catechism, do the exercises, okay? But then it also says, do you wear any sacramentals, such as a scapular? Our Lady has made some wonderful promises. And then it goes on about that. So you have lots of extras in your lesson plans. Keeps things interesting that you wouldn't get if you didn't enroll. There we go. Having a hard time opening that one. All right, here's science. Oh, tests in the back. Looks like they're labeling. Yeah, they're going to be labeling different systems. Again, sometimes science has some extra things in it too. I know the 7th grade lesson plans had an entire extra book that you could add in, and I bought that book and we did it, and it was absolutely phenomenal. It had a lot of good experiments in it too. Here's our spelling 8 lesson plan. Oops. It's very short. It basically tells you just the order to do things in. And then it goes to the answer key, and then the quarter forms for the tests. They'll probably also have the list of which words to call out for the quarter test. Here's your vocabulary 8. There's not much in the lesson plans, but you have glossary, and then you have the quizzes for each week, and then the quarter tests are at the end. Quarter test. Oh, somehow this one got out of order. Here's history. History also usually has a lot of supplemental information in the lesson plans that is not included in the book. And then there's your answer key in your test. So like, look something up. This one is a paragraph assignment. Identify a state law related to education. Write a paragraph of 250 to 300 words describing how this law helps the people of your state. How can you tell it's a just law? Explain detail, etc. There's an entire state history section right here that would not be in the textbook. Here's the state history section again. And that's probably because then you can use your own state. That way your child's learning about their own state. Extra information, history, federal income tax. So yeah, so again, the lesson plans, in my opinion, are absolutely worth it. Takes everything to another level. All right, and then this was our answer key for vocabulary, which was in the textbook, but normally it's in your lesson plans if you can't find it. All right, I tried to go a little bit faster because some of these are quite long, but that was 8th grade. If I have time, check back because I will do another video on the things that we supplemented our curriculum with over the years, and this year what did I order extra. And if you haven't seen them yet, I also did a video on 6th grade and 2nd grade. I'm having to remember which grades my kids are going to next year. I did order early because someone said, well, do you school all year long? No, but I like to get the supplies in early so that I can look through them. I can start planning. It's the teacher in me. You know, I want to make sure if I want to get an extra book or activity to go with a lesson, I can look ahead and get it now. So I get excited about getting these in and then working on it over the summer so that when August comes, we are ready to go. So we do not school during the summer. We still do our school from August to May, pretty similar to our public schools around here timeline wise. So check the other videos if you're interested in the other grades.